Hello and welcome back to Songs of SYX. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are not going to be playing our human city today. I may continue it in the future, but today I'm going to be doing a kind of a side project that I've been thinking about doing. We're going to be playing as the Dondorians, and I'm going to make a city that is potentially the worst city for other people to live in. We're going to try to make a utopia for the Dondorians while making a miserable hellhole for everyone else. So that includes taking Cretonians, Garthinis, humans, everyone, and we're going to turn them into our personal laborers, if you know what I mean, and we're going to build a giant empire, hopefully. So I'm going to get to it. I'm going to start work on my tiny little village. Here, we got to get set up for some food production, but I think I know a good way to get food into this village. So I will see you guys in a minute when I get that all set up. Yeah, our throne's over here. I haven't gotten to building a throne room, but welcome back, welcome back. Here we are. This has taken me 2.5 hours, basically 2 hours, to build all of this. My god, Jake has made this very challenging, but I'm going to go over what I've done, kind of what stalled me up, what took me so long. We got 79 Dondorians. I could easily pop their population up, but I don't want to, as we are pretty stable right now. Where we are, we have a good basis to jump forward. So I'm going to go over, this was the area that we started with. We had a couple houses, we had a couple other things in here, and we expanded, we kept digging, we built these square spaces here. And my whole goal was to try to square out this area so that the Dondorians' environmental stats here for roundness goes down. It's still half, but it's going down further. They can't really do anything about the, you could look out here. There's roundness that is emanating from the side of the mountains. I could technically try to carve it out and make it look better. It's not going to really do much though. So, I'll start with the furthest most point here. We have our fishery, and as mentioned, we have a lot of slaves, or we're trying to get a lot, but their submission is total. It's based off of all of them. Not by their species so much. So, essentially, the Cretonians, the 5 Cretonians I had at the start, basically wanted to beat up my 16 Dondorians. They constantly were about to rebel, and they had very low submission. Even with my boost, I have a boost title. I think it's right here. I have the title for slavers. So, oh, I also didn't notice that you can see the effects of the, alright. The pleasurer. I like that that's the first one I looked at. So, goal is to get speakers to 95, stages and fight pits to 95. The entertainer, that will get your happiness a boost. All these different ones. I didn't even notice that. That's good to know. We do have the title for submission, and they were still near revolting. at that population level I had. But now that I've got 79 guys and an army of trained boys, we've got some trained up Dondorians. You see, at 10% or 13% melee training, they are 0.4 offensive skill. Most other units will be at about 0.2. These guys are badass. They are very strong. Dondorians have a lot of strength to them. So we're going to be doing a lot of that fun stuff. And as I've been going along, I kind of felt like this is a good chance to start anew and probably not go back to that other city, because I like to start a lot. I always will restart and start new cities. Also, I need to put some roads in here before it drives me insane. I always will do this, and you guys will probably have to expect that from me. And it's not because I get anything other than I just want to see a new design or play as a different group of people. Sometimes I do that. So we have our grain farm. That's obvious here. We have our Cretonian grain farmers here working. And then we have a workstation. These guys have the workstation so that they can come over here and get wood. So you can see that this Dondorian here is working, cutting down some trees. Eventually I'll have a tilapia here with the trees. We're going to need to get like a decent area of a couple wood cutters down here on this stream, because we don't have any access to good wood. But eventually we won't really be making furniture. We'll probably be importing wood from our friendly regions that we capture. Speaking of which, we've got some distance to cover if we want to get to anybody. Probably this guy here. Some of these guys are pretty far away from us. And as you can see, there's a giant ocean between us and everything else. On to the next thing. You can see we have a speaker, well, and a little hearth, as well as the apartment. I don't know why this gentleman is an ore miner. You should not be doing ore mining. You should be... What? Yeah, no. I have them all set to be fishermen. They should be fishers. And they're living here. We have a little janitor. And then we have a warehouse. Speaking of which, I probably should give them some space for fish. Now that we have fish in our society, these boys will start to eat fish. And that is 3 out of the 4 different foods that these guys like, I believe, that I'm covering. Oh, actually, no, we've got all of their food preferences covered right there. That's awesome. That is good to see. So if I look at the access, their food preferences should be about... seems a little off right there. Let's check this and actually set some space for the mushrooms to be stored. So we have our mushroom farm here. That was the first thing I built when I got this city going. The next thing I built was the carpenter. I didn't build it this big, by the way. I built a small row and then I built the whole thing after. The carpenter, this little warehouse which connected to it. And then I felt like this design was pretty unique. This is kind of like a square that I designed with the charcoaler in the center. Could have been any building, it just decided to be the charcoaler. We have a little lavatory, we have some wells on the side, some benches for people to sit on. Oop, I probably should remove that. They're sitting in front of benches that are facing flowers there. We have a baker. So initially I was selling stone to buy bread. Horribly inefficient, but I eventually made enough money to get some Cretonians and also get this carpenter running. Basically kept ourselves floating so we didn't have to focus on getting bread or making any food. We were just trading the stone that we were cutting from the mountain for bread. And that kept us going for quite some time. Now we have so much grain always coming in, and these Dondorians, or these Cretonians, they pull out a pretty good amount here. So eventually I'll probably just add another one, and we'll keep moving up this coastline here. Or stream, actually. Then we have our warehouse. This is a bigger warehouse for all of the stone and wood in this area. And this piece of bit, or this bit here, is probably my favorite. Our mason. Yes, I have a mason already. They are very challenging to get. We've also got some metal coming in, so that's part of the reason why I have one. But these are a thing that you usually get much later in the game, but I got now. He's selling, or we are selling all of our cut stone for quite a significant amount of money. And we also have our fight pit tucked away in this back area. This space is saved for the expansion of the mason. We'll probably expand them out a little bit more. and then keep building up, up, up. We're going to build all throughout this mountain. There's plenty of space for us to build. We're going to try to take advantage of these walls here. Then we have obviously our charcoaler who's making the coal, and our smelter here who's making iron ore, but we do not have enough ore, so we're making metal bars, sorry. We need more ore. We built this iron ore mine, and I upgraded it with the iron that I was pulling in. And you can see this warehouse right here is storing roughly decent amount for each 600, 600, and 600. We'll never see 600 total iron, so I could probably pop that down and do something like that. Eventually, I'll have a warehouse right here, but for now, we're chilling. As Dondorians like noise, it's perfectly fine for them to live right across the street from the mine, because they actually love that shit. And the less noise they have, the less happy they are. So they would prefer if their house was in front of like a nuclear bomb every single second of their day. And speaking of which, we have the training ground, so there'll be some houses over here for people to train in this area. And you could tell that I went with the 5-slot house, the normal house size. And I gave them this half. I probably will remove this here and turn it into storage. I think that would be the best idea. Let's see, how much spare housing do we have? We have 17 houses. That would take out 20. Eventually, in the next episode, I'll do that. And then, for last but not least, we have our laboratory here with our, what do we have, 6 human workers, and then the rest are Dondorians. We need to get more humans. I think that the last time I had a slaver, it was 6 days, in 1 year ago, actually. So pretty soon we'll get another one, and I will buy the 6 more, probably 4 more, so I can fill this house out. And the way these guys are going to live is basically tight knit housing down here. I might even tuck them in closer, but the idea for me was there's going to be humans here, Cretonians here. They're just going to be like packed in like sardines, one after another. But we have to make sure that our Dondorians are not outnumbered by them at any point, so we have to keep our numbers up there on the Dondorian scale. This game is very challenging. V.66 is a whopper. It's a doozy. It's quite a challenge, and for all those who are joining in for the V.66 beta, I salute you. I hope that you're doing well in this game. Currently, I'm having a blast in certain degrees, but in other ways, it's very hard. And it's kind of one of those things where I haven't found myself mad at it like I would normally get at other games. But there's some stuff that I find ridiculous, like the fact that we had 5 Cretonians. I would understand if they are Emevians. The Emevians have a much higher anti-slavery rate. But the Cretonians, 5 Cretonians, I think I only had 3 actually. 3 Cretonians because they were working this mushroom farm. And the 18 Dondorians. The Dondorians should just went over and punched the Cretonians in the face and been like, shut up, stop complaining, you bastards. There's 18 of us, we'll kill you all. But instead, they were like holding my people hostage. And I had to give them a day off and keep their happiness up that way. It's kind of ridiculous, but that's just par for the course. I think Jake will eventually touch up on these issues. He has done so much in the last 2 weeks, and that is with a couple children in tow. I just want to give Jake a huge shout out for all the hard work that he puts into this game, because at no point in time do I ever feel like it's him causing any problems. It's more like this game has been led into a direction of extreme not difficulty, but complexity. There's a lot more things that you have to keep in mind when you're building something. Specifically with all these new services, there's, if you look, let's see how many services. Well over 10 different services. What is that, 11 services? 13, not including the food. So that's 15 total services. That's a lot of different buildings to just put in. And you can see that it's not necessarily making them unhappy, but you have a lot to get towards. So taverns, for example. Taverns are something that you have to kind of decide, do you want a tavern early and focus on building up your brews, which is pretty hard to get the pottery necessary, as well as the coal and then the grains necessary. or a bathhouse, which is pretty simple. You just have to get water technology and to deliver that water to your capital area or where you want the bathhouse. Barbers, massage parlors take extremely large amounts of knowledge, so in order... Oh, cops are coming by. In order to get that, we would need probably 4 or 5 more of these laboratories in their upgraded stage. And then physicians and hospitals are self-explanatory. These things here, you can see the service bar is the bar that keeps people down. I think that Jake probably, in just my personal opinion, should lower the overall value of the service bar towards the population. Because if you look, it's 21.6 of the total of the 106 that you need here. So it's literally 1/5 of everything. And if you can't keep that up, you're suffering. This one, that's fine. Once you get a noble, that's chilling. And then here having other slaves is a great thing. But even as you can see, we have 18. There's 79 people. At 19%, that means we still would need twice. We need way more people. And it kind of is an odd thing. I think that the main issue with the slave submission, though, is not having a military. So yeah, having an army simply boosted us immensely, but having no army at the beginning there really did me a detriment. So I think that you want to save your slavery money for when you get an army, and then you can start getting slaves. Or if you want to tough it out, by all means. Anyways, my blabbing aside, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you enjoyed the little bit of a video I've got here. I know it's not the long videos that everyone is expecting and really liking, and thank you to Squid specifically, because you are a great viewer and you keep me going. All you guys keep me going, but Squid, you're a good dude. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.